Hey, welcome to another exciting weekly episode of the Main Stage Music live stream.
You need to be honest with folks. Are you really that excited to be here?
You know, I am excited because it's my job to connect with you guys.
Oh,
and
we'll take it.
Hey, man, we'll take small victories, right? So, but I'm Brad. This is Jamie, and we're with Main Stage Music. And honestly, we're going to have kind of a fun episode today.
You've never said we're part of Main Stage Music before.
We are.
I've got a new group associate. I got a new tribe.
He's in this is a new Main Stage Music tribe.
I get to get another tattoo that nobody
for all
knows.
of you guys who don't already know, most of you know this, we welcome your comments. We welcome you to share this with other people. And you can watch this on both Facebook and YouTube. And if you don't already subscribe to us on YouTube, go ahead and click that subscribe button, because the more subscribers, the more fun. So anyways,
they actually have a thing, like if you don't say ring the bell, that you get less prominence in the AI.
Really?
Yeah, you got to say subscribe and click the bell so that you get all notifications.
Well, see, I'm learning. I am learning.
We're slaves to the master, right?
Hey, and we if you guys have also, I'm just going to pitch this out there. So this episode today was actually somewhat inspired by my friend Tommy Husky, who I want to give a shout out to. He says, you know what, Brad, you need to do a episode just talking about every one of your guitars and the stories behind them and so on. Well, that is a great idea. The problem is, and I'm saying this like I'm someone who understands this is the first step, that you have to admit you have a problem. I have too many guitars to condense that into one episode. I actually have, I'm ashamed to say, too many guitars to condense that into 2 years worth of weekly episodes. So, and you know what? I have to say this, 3 years of weekly episodes if we went guitar by guitar. So that being said, I can't do that, but we thought what an amazing topic that we should talk about, and that is you never forget your first love, but also your first guitar.
Which for most of you losers, your first guitar was your first love. I'm included in that group, but you know it's true. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, exactly. So that being said, we are going to be talking today about the first guitar we ever had, or I ever had, and he's going to tell about his. And what we want you to do is, if you've got an interesting story, or at least can just tell us what your first guitar was, hey, I think it makes for a great conversation. Now, I guess we didn't talk about this before the show, but are you going to go first, or am I going to go first?
I bet your story is probably more interesting than my story. I don't know, man. It's all you go first. Your show, man.
It's not my show. It's the Main Stage Music show.
It's the fans' show.
It is your show.
But you're leading the fans' show.
Okay. So, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be 44 years old. Mm-hmm. So back in the summer of, I guess it would have been 1989, perhaps. I grew up in the Midwest and in Wisconsin, actually, if you didn't know that already. And in the Midwest, there's a cool thing that happens in the springtime. And that is that once a year, you can put big garbage out on the street. And the dump truck will come by, and they'll pick up the big garbage.
What is big garbage?
Well, it's like if you tore carpet out of a bedroom.
Just any junk that.
Or you had a mattress, or a love seat or something like that. You can put that big garbage out on the road, and the city of Wausau, Wisconsin, will come by with a dump truck, and they'll pick it up instead, because you can't put that stuff out for regular pickup, obviously.
I don't know, man. They do that same mess up in Signal. You'll just have some cat, just like you'll drive by the yard one day and they just got this huge pile of stumps and blocks and everything, and 3 or 4 weeks
Well-
later, Public Works comes by and picks it up. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how that works.
The Tennessee way. If you want to know how they do it in Saudi Daisy, if you're of a certain redneck persuasion, what you do is you just stop off on the side of the highway with your stained queen-size mattress, and you just dump it off on the side of the highway for someone else to deal with.
That sounds efficient.
Yeah, there's another place that these people do this. It's on the frontage road by Thrasher Pike. That's a popular place for, we'll just say, less refined people to get rid of their old furniture and queen-size mattresses, so all of us that are walking our dogs or riding our bicycles can be treated to your wonderful trash. But where I grew up, you had one time a year where you could take your bigger trash and put it out on the street, and the city would come and pick it up for you. Well, when you're a kid in middle school or thereabouts, it's Shangri-La. Okay?
There's good stuff everywhere.
Like, dude, you're throwing this out? And basically what happened is me and my friend, who I have not talked to in 30 years almost.
Oh, really?
His name is Mikey Hutchison. Okay. So me and Mikey Hutchison were walking up this street called Boff Street, which is named after early 20th century artist. Anyways. And looking at all this garbage, we found some piece of rug that we were going to put in our tree house. It was kind of cool. And then Mikey saw this silvery rectangular case.
Ooh.
And he's like, dude. And we run over there, and it was a red electric guitar.
Is the story of why you're not talking to Mikey anymore more interesting than the guitar story?
Here's the truth of the matter. When you grow older, okay, that's middle school. Middle school friends often evolve into different friends once you get into high school. And Mikey, we never had a falling out.
That seems healthy enough.
It was just kind of one of those things where, your groups change and whatever. But hey, Mikey, if you're watching it, feel free to give me a holler. That's what Facebook's all about, and YouTube and so on. No, Mikey was a cool guy.
Yeah.
But anyways, so Mikey's actually the one who found my first guitar, okay? And he pulls it out of the trash, and a red electric guitar. Dude, this is the stuff like dreams are made of when you're talking about a middle school kid, especially in the late 80s, okay? So he had a little Gorilla amplifier. He already had an electric guitar. But we run over to his house, and Guitar World magazine had just dropped. See, for all of you younger kids, we learned to play guitar from Guitar World magazine when they'd have 4 transcriptions by Wolf Marshall.
Yeah, or
in
Guitar Player.
Yeah. And anyways, this one was the issue that had, I think it was Skid Row's Monkey Business.
Heck yeah.
Transcribed. And so we pulled this red electric guitar out, and we did our best to try to play Monkey Business on this electric guitar. It was missing one string, the high E, which...
You don't need that one.
Hey.
Not for no Monkey Business.
5 out of 6 ain't bad. I think that's a Meatloaf song. Anyways, but that being said, Mikey kind of, the novelty wore off, and he gave it to me. And man... I've got a red electric guitar. I come running home. And of course, my mom was always very supportive, but she wasn't as excited about, an old crappy guitar as I was. I didn't have an amp. Of course, they didn't gonna buy me an amplifier. But my mom did have a Panasonic turntable with a cassette deck built into it. And those old combination also had a phono in where you could plug a microphone in and record yourself. Well, I learned that if you plug a guitar cord into that, put a tape in and hit record, that your guitar would come out of the speakers. And my first riff that I ever learned on that red electric guitar was the beginning to Once Bitten, Twice Shy from Great White. You can laugh, but it got me married.
Oh, Lord.
Now, would you guys like to see my very first guitar? You know you do, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because guess what? I still have it.
That's so crazy.
Well-
That's so crazy.
This is it. This is my very first electric guitar. It was manufactured in Chicago, Illinois in 1962 or 3, okay?
Somebody threw that away.
Yeah. and it's branded Supro, which for all of you guys who aren't familiar with, is actually just one of many name brands that the Valco company had. There was Supro, there was Airline, there was what's another one, that Atlas. There was quite a few, because Valco was a company that, National, that was another one that was branded. They were a company that if you had a store and you wanted to have a guitar brand for your own store, they would make it for you. And so Supro just happened to be one of those brands. For example, if you see one that says Airline on it, it meant that it was sold through the Montgomery Ward's company. And if you saw one that said like Old Craftsman, that one was sold through the Spiegel company. And if one said Silvertone, that was sold through, of course, Sears. But yeah, this was my very first guitar. And, I'll tell you what, the story it's actually manufactured of a material they called Resaglass. It's actually just fiberglass, but it's completely hollow. It has a little block of wood that the pickup connects to. It's a single coil pickup. I know it looks like a humbucker, but it's actually just a single coil that they made to look like a humbucker.
It looks like ebony.
And it has a tremolo. This is actually pretty hip guitar. Now here's where the story gets even more fun. So this was 7th grade. I didn't really have, many people helping me with learning guitar, okay? I had just enough money to replace the high E string. I went to Jerry's Music in Wausau, Wisconsin, paid $1. Okay, that place was probably 5 miles from my house. Paid $1 for a string, went all the way back home, broke the string, putting it on, had to procure another $1, bike with my Huffy with the star rim wheels, another 5 miles down to Jerry's Music for another guitar string, broke that one too, until my dad finally got mad at me and said he can't believe a son of mine doesn't know how to put a guitar string on, and he put it on for me, the third time's a charm, and of course Dad did it,
right.
And it worked. Listen to your dad. Anyways, and so no one taught me. I didn't know how to. So guess what? By the probably less than 18 months later, a friend of mine, who I'm still friends with, by the way, and hopefully he's watching this. My friend's name is Justin White. So Justin was he was the cool kid in middle school, okay? He was the guy who dressed up as the Mike Patton clown from Falling to Pieces epic Faith No More video. For Halloween, he was the kid who had all the cool skateboard Powell Peralta and H Street and Vision Streetwear clothes that we all wanted, but our parents wouldn't get us. He was the kid that had long hair that most of our parents were like, He was the cool feral kid, okay? And Justin was just cool, okay? Now,
feral kid.
Yeah. So, but anyways, Justin, I went to his house.
Oh, Lord.
Or his place, and he had all this cool skateboard clothing. He had like a Tony Hawk shirt and the Vision Streetwear pants. This is stuff that, again, to the skateboard, I was a thrasher before I was old and fat. So I wanted these clothes but couldn't afford them, okay? So he said, well, here, you can have these clothes and I'll trade you for that red electric guitar. And so this guitar got away from me in exchange to Justin White for a bunch of cool skateboard kid clothes. And I wore those clothes for probably a year until, Now here's what's funny. Those clothes are probably worth more money today than this guitar. Because if you've priced that stuff, it's insane.
Vintage clothing.
Oh, well, vintage like skateboarder kid clothing.
Yeah, I know, but man, the whole,
It's even higher than original rock shirts, t-shirts.
I'm just glad that eBay doesn't have a category of like vintage socks and underwear. It's just...
They do, and you have to put those people on like the pedo watch list,
Oh, you got to agree to be 21 to get into the site. Yeah.
Anyways, so fast forward about 4 years, and we were moving to Tennessee, because I was a senior in high school when we moved. And I'm saying my goodbyes and all this kind of stuff. And Justin was one of my last friends. I was, hey, man, well, we're moving away. I'm sorry, you know, blah, blah. I'll keep in touch. And I said, you know, you don't still have my old red electric guitar, do you? And he's like, yeah. You know, so he digs it out of a pile of junk. He was just sitting in the corner of his room. He goes, go buy me a carton of Marlboro Reds. And so I took my $12 and bought a carton of cigarettes, and I got my Supro Belmont back.
So Justin never escaped his feral nature.
Well, Justin, actually, he owns a bar in Wittenberg, Wisconsin right now, the Village Inn. If you guys are ever in Wittenberg, Wisconsin, you can go and view, hey, there's a world famous bacon factory there called Newski's Bacon.
Bacon factory?
Yeah, they make cured meats. Okay.
Sell it at fancy restaurants.
Yeah, they sell. I mean, no, Newski's is a big deal.
I just didn't know that you called any meat product like a factory other than like Spam or Wiener.
No. It's
Like a processing facility.
oh
right?
no. I mean, Wisconsin is all about cheese and processed meats, no doubt. I mean, you don't think that I get to svelte look like this from not eating cheese and cured meats, do you? Now, that being said, so Justin has his own bar. It's an awesome place. He does open mic and pool tournaments and whatever, and I've been there. Nice place. So, Justin, if you're watching, thanks for my guitar back. It hasn't left my side in the last, 27 years or however long I've been here now.
What would it be worth to me to go to Wisconsin to see you play a Great White cover set at Justin's bar?
Justin, if you're listening to this and you want me to come to the Village Inn and play Great White, Once Bitten, Twice Shy
On that guitar.
on this Supro Belmont, you just let me know. And if I ever get a day off again, which hasn't happened in 2 years now, I will try to make it on
you
up
get
there.
the benefit of the time, man. Catch a plane, you'll be there in time for the show.
Well, see, that's the problem about Wisconsin.
Red-eye flight, 'cause you're a rock star.
Wisconsin is kind of got a shortage on these little square things called buildings where people live, and you have farms, and then you have like miles of nothing, and then there's another farm.
Yeah.
And so there's one airport north of, let's say, Milwaukee. So, I mean, you don't just fly up to Wisconsin. You fly to this place, and then you fly to that place, and you got to skip like half a dozen places to get up there.
I'm not seeing the problem.
Well, if a jet set like Jamie, I mean.
There's a will, there's a way.
So, but that being said, that is my first guitar. I still have it, and it's never going anywhere. Maybe my son will sell it for $12 at a pawn shop when I kick the bucket, right? But as far as I'm concerned, it's not going anywhere. It means a lot to me, and I know that it's actually kind of collectible in some circles. They make reissues of this guitar now. But it's mine. There are many like it, but this one is mine. So, I don't know, kind of a fun, little trip down memory lane. Tell me about your, first guitar.
Well, let's get one thing straight. I definitely don't have it. Definitely don't have it. $49.99 out of the JCPenney Christmas catalog. I could have gotten a Traveling Wilburys single
those are
pickup,
cool.
single cut. Yeah, that was a special that year. That would have been, I was 10, so that would have been 87. And that guitar came with a nice little vinyl pouch. And has anyone ever tuned a guitar with a pitch pipe? It's not my preferred way to tune them. I've done a tuning fork plenty of times, but not the pitch pipe. But it came with picks, the strappy capo that doesn't work so well. But $49.99, you get the steel string folk guitar starter pack. And my dad said that if you started on electric, it would make your fingers too accustomed to playing too easily. You needed an acoustic, right? Which is
To toughen them up.
Which is the story all parents should tell their kids. You got to start on acoustic. And I got that guitar and immediately unboxed it at my grandfather's house, who was a piano tuner, who helped me tune it. Taught me a bar chord. He had a pretty dear friend who's a tenor guitar player and other guitar player. My grandfather was a tenor sax player, kind of locally renowned, but a solid player, sounded great. Taught me a bar chord, and man, I was just like, I was off to the races then. Took lessons for 2 summers at Hurd's Music Company in Natchez, Mississippi. And bought the guitar because the Appetite for Destruction record had come out.
Ooh, Gibby knows that one.
And at a Boy Scout retreat, a dude had a Sigma by Martin and was playing Sweet Child of Mine. And there was no way that I was not going to figure out how to do that. And it was a bunch of years after that I actually figured out how to do that. But arguably still don't know how to correctly now. But yeah, had that guitar. And never in my mind did I say, I'm going to hold and cherish this thing for years. Why would I ever not have this guitar? I knew that thing was garbage, and I wanted to be rid of it as soon as humanly possible. And so, yeah, after the misery of playing it for a year, and I had stuck it out, I'm getting to my first, what I would call my first guitar was actually my third guitar. So, Mr. Frank, let me get into a white Series 10 Strat copy.
Okay.
Black guard, black covers, black neck, black headstock, white Strat.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool, man. If I needed to get into a R&B or a soul band at the time, that would have been the instrument to have. But it played, and I was down for it. And so I worked to earn enough to buy from Mr. Jim Easterlin at Easterlin's Music, one of the first Fender and Gibson dealers in Louisiana, I believe, a PV Backstage 110.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I was telling earlier, gain on 10 always, ultra switch engaged for nothing but chug, chug, chug. And that was fun. And then I swapped it out. So I've been swapping gear forever. It was never in my mind. I wish I had every progression of terrible thing I've ever owned in a huge case or room somewhere that I'm going to heat and cool and air condition and not use for other commercially useful functions. I want to do that forever. No. I played this. I liked it. I don't think I need it anymore. I'm going to get something different. So thank God that the free market is available for all of our preferences. My first real rig, I don't know, you didn't really talk about your first real rig.
No.
So first real rig, I would say after the Series 10 for a year, I got a Westone Spectrum.
Ooh.
Upturn headstock, Floyd Rose, bridge humbucker, slanted single coil neck, and boat sparkle blue. And I kept that thing, all the way through like sophomore college.
Wow.
I had that guitar for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny about you saying, so was yours basically it was a 2 pickup, was it rail pickups in the neck position?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was, but basically a Super Strat, 2 pickup, humbucker, slanted rail.
It was a Charvel copy.
Yeah. Okay. This is actually getting a little spooky here. We haven't rehearsed, obviously, this at all. I had that same guitar, but mine was in like pink.
So did yours have blade, or did you have 3 mini toggles?
No, I had blade humbucker in the neck. Mini hum.
Blade pickup.
Oh yeah,
selector?
blade switch.
And a single toggle.
In a single toggle.
Yeah, I had that.
Yeah, that's the one I had. And that's weird. Okay, now here's the way I had mine though. Okay.
I do wish I still had that guitar.
It's actually a really nice guitar. I mean, Westone made a lot of that stuff was Japan
or Korean.
I mean, they made stuff better.
What would be a $1,500 PRS SE now?
Yeah. No, I mean they're so. Okay.
Do you remember the other one? So the top of the line version at that time was the snake, like the real snakeskin covered one. You remember that? It was
the one I wanted though was made by Alvarez, and it was called the Dana Scoop. And it was made
real deep.
It had it was made out of luthite or some sort of a real heavy material. I mean, each one of those Dana Scoop guitars must have weighed 10 pounds, and it was but the entire portion, you guys feel free to look this up. So it had a cutaway here, and it scooped under the fretboard, and then came out in the sharp. Yeah. And I don't think I've seen anything like it since. But now,
there's lots of good reasons that those types of things happen. Never seen one like that since.
So I mean, my story after this guitar got gone. that's when I kind of turned into the guy in high school who wanted to be the guitar guy. So my dad, I had some junky Telecaster copy. It was really a piece of crap. And my dad said, if you can play a song all the way through, I'll buy you a nice electric guitar.
Cool, man.
But of course, he hears me, like so many of you guys, when you got started, you just want to learn the intro to Crazy Train. You want to learn the intro to Nothing Else Matters. Ooh,
Yeah.
But you're not playing a song all the way through. And so my dad said, play a song all the way through. I'll go buy you a guitar. And the guitar, he picked it out. I didn't get to go to the store. He just comes home from work. And I'll tell you, again, listen to your dads.
It's a take charge kind of
No,
fault.
dads are cool, especially if it's your dad. Most dads are pretty cool. They're going to get it, okay? So my dad comes home with it was made by Squire, and I'm still looking for one of these. So if you guys find one of these, let me know. I think they called it the Stage Master or Rock Master or something like that. But it was a neck-through body. Okay, it was not a bolt neck guitar. It was neck through body. It was, I guess we'd call it an S body shape or slim. Okay, so think like the Ibanez S series. Hum single hum, Floyd Rose, graphite gray metallic, pitched headstock, pointy headstock. Okay, made by Squire. And so that guitar was brand new, shiny. I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
This is awesome.
Man, I tell you what, I took it to school in high school. Everyone went crazy. There's a picture of me in my sophomore yearbook playing that guitar in my sophomore year high school yearbook, and they said that I like to play Love Song by Tesla. Hey, that was a killer album. But that guitar, he also got me a Marshall single 12 Studio 50 combo.
Good Lord.
And it was solid state. I mean, not the best sounding Marshall, but it's a Marshall with a, hum single hum Floyd Rose guitar. Dude. Well, Al Gore, it wasn't Al Gore. It was Dan Quayle broke my guitar. Okay, and this is how it happened.
What?
This was been winter of 1992. So you had a presidential election going on. We all know, obviously, Bill Clinton won the election. I was a sophomore in high school, Wausau West High. And Dan Quayle, the then vice president of the United States of America, decided to visit our high school. Well, I was this kid who wanted to be the guy, again, I listened to shred and grunge music. And it was wintertime in Wisconsin, so we wore trench coats because that's what cool kids did. And I had my gig bag with my Squire Rockmaster, Stage Master guitar slung over my shoulder. Well, I walk into school, and there are all these kids in line. We're like, what the heck is this? They were frisking kids coming in because the vice president was at our high school.
That administration had a few examples of kid frisking.
Well, long story short, the Secret Service grabbed my guitar, rip it open, mishandle it, push me along and whatever, crack the headstock on my guitar.
Oh, for real?
Yep.
Man, that's a spook. Man, all
that's
my
some
stories
bull
are
crap.
terrible now.
And so I come home just like, ugh. So my dad took my guitar to where he bought it, which was called Community Music in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. And the guy said, we can fix it for you. And Dad goes, well, he needs a loaner. And that's where the Westone came from.
Oh, cool.
So he gave me the Westone to play while my guitar was getting fixed. Thanks, Dan Quayle. You don't know how to spell potato, and you broke a young kid's costly guitar.
Give him the shop PayPal account.
Heck yeah, man.
You need to send some bucks
You know it.
to the main stage show for what you did.
So, anyway.
Camera
you
one.
know.
You know you wanted that graphite guitar. You're like, make sure that kid never plays that thing again.
Now so I got the guitar back, and of course it's got the little fishhook smiley face crack repair on the back of the headstock. And I don't mind telling you, I was really bummed because every time you look at it, it's kind of like it's smiling at you like, I've been broken.
I'm the Secret Service. We can do as we please with
I'll
your
never
toys.
be the same, And so just before I moved to Tennessee, and this is actually kind of a weird confessional kind of story right here.
Oh.
There was this kid named Andy. I can't remember his last name.
Hey, Gibson, cue up some dramatic music.
Yeah. Anyway, so Andy, his dad went out and bought him an electric guitar too. But his dad must have had more money than my dad, because he bought Andy an American-made Strat Plus in Lake Placid blue with the Fender lace gold pickups in it and whatever. But as you guys know, that guitar does not come with a Floyd Rose tremolo.
No, it does not.
So Andy was like, "Man, you got such a cool guitar," and I knew, dude, you just got American Strat. I'll trade you. Okay. So I traded him. And then I moved 1,000 miles away. That way his dad goes, "Woo! You traded."
How did you preface that story?
It's confessional.
Oh, confessional, because you committed a crime.
I'm like,
yeah.
So I can't remember his last name. His name was Andy. I remember that. But he traded me Even Steven, my repaired headstock Squire, for his American Strat Plus.
Well, if that's some super limited Squire, it's possible.
Oh no, it's worth quite a bit of money nowadays. I can't find one. If you guys find one, let me know. I'll buy it from you. Just make it easy for you.
Anybody's got an upturned headstock Floyd Rose Westone, holler at Brad. We'll see if we can.
We'll figure that out too.
Figure something out.
So but that was kind of because I knew, I'm like, oh crap, you got to walk away real fast, But don't worry, that guitar. Hey, for all you guys who are mad at me, I got ripped off too. Well, kind of. I traded that guitar and a vintage Supro Thunderbolt amp that I had. Okay?
Yeah.
And to L&M Music in Chattanooga, and you know what? I can't even remember what I got for it. It was probably something dumb like a Fostex XR5 or something like that,
I got one. I'll do the last one, then we'll read the comments. Yeah, so...
Oh, by the way, let us know. I mean, I know you guys are enjoying all this stuff, but feel free to comment. I see tons of guys are watching.
So I had the Westone, the solid state PV. I was doing the whole rock and roll thing, right? And my freshman year of college was not as successful as other people's freshman year of college, so I came back home to weed eat at an industrial plant for just a little while in Mississippi summer around a caustic plant. So you had to wear full plastic garb so that you didn't burn your skin off. And it still didn't teach me enough as it should have, really. It should have taught me more. We had an old Willis Jeep that we used to ramp over the containment berms. And the springs broke, so they fixed them back with just rigid members and bolted that. Anyway, it was all terrible. But an old man, Mr. Casey Jones, that worked there.
Oh, dude, he had a song written about him.
It was probably not
trouble
the same,
ahead, trouble behind.
I don't think cocaine was involved with this story.
It's Mississippi.
But Mississippi, we were not known for.
They're selling souls to the devil at crossroads.
We do that willingly for like a pot of well-seasoned beans, not cocaine. So anyway, I go to his house and he's like, "Hey, I heard you play music. I got a few things you might be interested in." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'll come scope it out." He lived in the middle of Louisiana, so I went over there. Real Junior with a headstock break. That he said, "I'm probably gonna fix that one day. I might just hang on to that." Real 65 deluxe reverb with the case, original foot switch, 2-prong cord, and I didn't know squat. I knew Fender amp ought to be a pretty good amp. Would you like to know how much I paid for it? He asked for $50. I gave him $100 because I felt bad, because I felt like it was probably worth more than that. Had no idea. Brought that thing home. Everything worked. Got the dirt out of it. Playing that Westone through it, and I'm like, the distortion's great, but it's only good if you turn it up past like 5.5 or so. Went back to college, traded it off for $500 or something for a remember when Mike Soldano did the Yamaha amps?
Oh yeah.
Traded off for one of those amps, which sounded good.
No, those are good amps.
Yeah,
it's not a Fender 60. Yeah, I mean.
So yeah, traded that amp off. They gave me the money I asked for. I made money on it. It's probably worth $1,500 at the time. It's worth $3,000 now.
Yeah.
But that that was my next gear progression, and I look back on that and going, well, we all make decisions, don't we?
Well, I never found anything that cool. I mean, as far as when I was a kid. I mean, I guess as far as effects, the first thing I bought, I'm just full of confessions today.
Don't self-incriminate.
No.
This is the internet, damn it.
I guess I'm going to self-incriminate somebody else. So there was this juvenile delinquent in our school named Sean Iger. I don't know what he does now. I mean, he might be a congressman for all I know. But Sean had very sticky fingers.
Uh-oh.
And so I bought my first Game Boy from him. He went to Shopko and stole it. Shopko is what they call Walmart up in Wisconsin. It's out of business now, but yeah. So Sean would go next door,
Brad,
and he would steal Game Boys, and then he would sell them to us for like $30, you know. And I bought my first Discman from Sean Iger, stolen, and then there was. Because there's a lot of weird usury laws in Wisconsin, there's not a lot of pawn shops. So there's one pawn shop in Wisconsin. And Sean stole a Yamaha, what was it called? The EX or EFX 500, I think. But it was a half rack space effects processor. And and he stole it. And this power supply was heavier than the unit, you know. I mean, it's like this huge, you know. But he stole this thing. I think I gave him $50 for it. FX 500, that's what it was called. I'm also looking for one of those if you guys find it. Don't steal it, okay? But I mean,
you got nostalgia for all your stolen gear.
Anyways, so so Sean Iger stole all this stuff, and I bought. Man, I hooked this guy up, I guess. So, but that was my first, and I remember my favorite effect on there. I thought it was called the flanger.
The flanger?
The flanger. I'm like, oh man, I like that flanger sound. Of course, for all of you know, it's flanger.
That's funny.
But yeah, I'd take my FX 500 on the flanger setting and plug it into my Marshall amp, play my West Tone, and I'd do my best version of Bon Jovi's Bed of Roses, which was huge guitar song back in 1991. Something, you know, thereabouts. But so that was kind of my next progression of that. Before I saved up my money, actual money, not stolen, you know, illegitimate purchases. And I went to, again, Jerry's Music, and I bought an Ibanez Sound Tank classic rock pedal.
Cool.
And it was basically, they look like ladybugs. They were little plastic pedals with little dots on them.
Yeah, somehow the dimples in the smooth plastic shell were going to increase your traction in your.
What's funny is that the pedals were okay, but now they're achieving anything old. People just get all gushy over.
It's just anything. It's like, you know what it is? I was thinking about this the other day, like this whole pedal thing. Is if we're so accustomed to I need some Wagyu beef and Szechuan mix. And it's like, you just call somebody and type it in and it just shows up in 40 minutes. You know, you pay out the wazoo to get it. You can get friggin' cheapo tacos from Yahoo's Taco Hut delivered to your house, but you got to pay a $35 handling fee. And if you go on to the internet and hey, I used to have a Ibanez Sound Tank hard rock distortion. Well, there's one. It's in Sweden. You can buy it for $385, and then all of a sudden, the going rate for the damn sound tanks is $300. We're so accustomed to getting what we want that this crap that they only had so much of, or that only survived this long, is now exclusive, and you pay out the nose for it.
Hey man, we're all waiting for our fifth stimulus here, so I can buy my FX 500 and my. I'm sorry. So. This is how we get things we don't need. But no, I mean,
Dankwell does owe you some money though.
I no doubt, especially a Secret Service guy, because he was a real jerk.
Secret Service probably has more just free spending budget than the
because they got all this counterfeit money that they, that's the other thing that they do.
If y'all confiscate, you can send us confiscated counterfeit dollars too.
We'll go to yard sales and spend it.
Yeah,
we'll be responsible.
They spend just fine at yard sales.
Anyways, well, you know, you
Did
guys.
anybody comment at all?
Well, we have got tons of people watching, okay? But all of you guys are far too entertained with our anecdotes.
They're probably crying in the awesome
All we
gear that
get
they've given
is
away.
just people saying that if you can sell them new gear. We were living large. We were young. We were about 100 pounds lighter. We had hair. And, you know, I'll tell you, and we had guys in middle school that stole stuff that we could buy.
Yeah, just think if you woke up today and the only thing you could think about was like a new hypercolor or a new skating.
Did you guys have hypercolor t-shirts?
Yeah, it's like the only thing you wanted in life was a t-shirt.
And then you bought it, and then the first day you wore it, your armpits were bright red on both sides. You know,
Under breast area.
This works really well. Thank you.
The main stage music shirts are somewhat like the hypercolor
Hey.
soy boy breast imprint.
So yeah, I mean, we would go to Hal's on the Wausau Center Mall, which they're tearing down this week, by the way. Hey, there's a fun little piece of my childhood getting raised.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's been all the. I mean, I haven't been there in 30 years or whatever.
Do you think we have a large Wisconsin
viewer base?
constituency? Yeah.
How many of you guys are cheeseheads?
You can't ask how many people in Tennessee are cheeseheads. They will not know what you're talking about.
Well, okay. If you're not from Wisconsin, cheesehead.
That doesn't mean you went swimming in the creek and you hadn't washed your hair in a few days.
Ooh, look at this.
What?
Adam, okay, first of all, Adam Martin just chimed in. Now, Adam works in Dayton at Nokian Tires, does phenomenal work over there, and has some really cool bass guitars. And he said his first bass, now this is actually pretty cool, was a Green Burst Encore with a black gold flowered pickguard. He still has it. Now let me tell you something. Those basses were made by one of two people, either Teisco or Gaiatone, which were Japanese companies. And let me tell you something about the Japanese. They know what Americans like better than Americans do. You know, all the cool stuff comes from Japan. I mean, they just have, and guess what? All of our old pop culture stuff, they just gobble up as quick as they can, you know? And
so that gold flowery, was that like a screen print thing at the time? Or was
yeah,
it
they would take no, it was
thing?
just screen printed, but whatever they use to screen print it, most of those are still intact.
Yeah.
They don't just wear off like a lot of the modern day stuff. Oh, we got oh, look at this guy. Our friend Christopher Head says he was born in Tennessee, but he lives in Cedarburg, Wisconsin now. Where's Cedarburg? See, I grew up in Wausau, which is, if you look at the Wisconsin mitten, it's right in the middle. It's like, man, you just scored a bullseye.
The mitten.
And it is a mitten, you know. See, you know, Michigan used to say they're the mitten, but here's the problem with Michigan. Michigan has got the shape, but then people forget there's an Upper Peninsula, okay? That's technically part of the state, so you're not just one piece, you know, so you can't really be a mitten unless you're like a mitten and a half, okay? So I don't want to hear any of that kind of garbage from you guys.
You say Greenberg?
Cedarburg. See, everything is a burg or because there's a large European, you know, migration that happened in Wisconsin. So everything's like German.
It's a north suburb of Milwaukee.
Oh, Milwaukee. Okay. Well, Milwaukee to Wisconsinites is like Memphis is to Tennesseans.
Oh,
okay. No. Where people say, "Oh, I've been to Tennessee. I've been to Memphis." We're like, yeah. Memphis isn't really Tennessee. And Milwaukee, yeah, Milwaukee's a rich, vibrant, you know, town. Yeah. But Milwaukee doesn't represent really what Wisconsin's all about. Just kind of like Tennessee, it's all about East and Central Tennessee. But as far as West Tennessee, that's all just kind of flat lands, cotton fields, and swampy. So, as when you get to the river basin there.
Soybeans and alligators, man.
No, Ron typed in, he says, my first base was a Conrad. It's okay if no one ever heard of a Conrad. Well, Roy, I've heard of Conrad, and I love Conrad stuff. Another awesome late 60s Japanese import, also made by Gaiatone. And, man, actually, some of those Conrad guitars are pretty sought after by indie players and stuff nowadays. So, and then my friend Drew Garrett, of course, not to be undone. Now, Drew, just so you know, is a gear aficionado.
Oh.
And Drew played in a very popular signed band called Candle Fuse. Am I getting that right? But they actually toured all over the place.
Cool.
And they had Steven and Drew, and I forget the other guy because he must not have been that important. Just kidding. Other guy. I don't know your name. So his first electric, ready for this? A G&L Legacy.
Really?
Dude.
Fancy
spoiled
pants.
Much? I was going to say. One of the earlier 3 bolts in the red swirl finish.
Oh, cool, man.
Dude. And let me guess.
I got a 3
You don't have it anymore.
I got a 3-bolt ace hat right now.
Still have it. Oh, he does still have it. Okay. See, I got to finish reading the comment. I still remember Dad and I going together to pick it out. Dude, that's a great memory. And actually,
how cool is that?
No, his dad's actually a really good musician too, and plays keys, if I'm not mistaken, right? But no, Drew, thanks for commenting. But no, Drew is one of the nicest people you ever meet. Great guitar player. I believe he lives in North Alabama now. Actually, always.
It's like
whatever.
Both of my kids. My kid, one plays tenor, and we got him a like pretty nice Eastman sax.
Oh yeah,
Eastman's daughter killer. Plays cello, and we did kind of air it out a little bit first. Got her just a student, but after she hung with a year, went and got her like a solid wood import deal. So yeah. Kids with dads who are geeks.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get spoiled,
dude. So. If you got an interest in guitar, yeah, let's go guitars. Let's go to the guitar store, yeah.
So let's like my daughter Shelby, who expressed interest in guitar when she's at the store and she sees all sorts of stuff. So I get her whatever she wants, and then it comes home, and there it sits, and there's laundry thrown over it and stuff. My daughter had 2 limited edition Hello Kitty Stratocasters hanging on her wall. One in pink, one in black.
Where
with
are they?
Custom. Who knows?
You don't know where they are?
We sold one.
Oh, okay. And so she didn't care. I mean, there might be one still buried in her room somewhere. She doesn't even live in her room anymore. My daughter's room is so filthy so now she sleeps on the couch or something because she's got too much laundry and junk like that.
Is she a hoarder?
No, she's a homeschool because of the COVID thing. And in case you parents didn't know this, homeschool means that you go to work and then your daughter sits around and screws off on their iPad all day. And you come home and you're like, oh, I'm so tired.
All
and you come home and like, wow.
Stories about theft. And Dan, the Secret Service destroying your content. Now we're going to rail on the kids.
Oh no, I love my kids. But so my daughter, she likes stuff when she's shopping for it, but when it's time to practice and stuff, then it's like, I've had a long day. I don't know if I'm gonna. And then we got his first. Christopher also chimed in. First acoustic, a Hondo from a Fort Campbell pawn shop. His first electric was a Squier Bullet.
Cool.
Hondo was a Japanese brand. Great stuff, actually. And Hondo took chances. They actually made the only that I know of other Longhorn. They copied the Danelectro Longhorn, but they made it with 26 frets. Yeah.
Like you do.
In a single humbucker. I mean, it was a killer guitar. And then Adam had to chime in and said he traded a Casio keyboard and a Citizen Pocket TV for the Encore. Thought he got the better deal at the time, circa 87. I'm not going to disagree with you, man. Yeah. I mean, I think I would have done that same thing. But and then Ron had to chime in. Who
would ever want a pocket TV? Nobody's gonna.
I actually remember
content on a mobile device.
Just to tell you how old I remember thinking the Watchman was the coolest thing ever. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I got my first little bit of money, I got a good camera and I wanted to buy a pocket TV, and I figured out a way to connect them so that I could have a camcorder and then actually be viewing, the thing live. I know I'm retarded. Then Ron had to chime in. I got a Mexican Strat, a 30-watt amp I bought for my kid who doesn't play. I'll take $800 for it. Pawn shop offered me $45. Sold. Well, not for the $800, but I'll double what the pawn shop offered you.
Pawn shop offered you $4,500. Christ Almighty!
Times A's are good. So,
man, somebody got some cash.
Well, hey, I want to thank you guys so much for watching and listening to these ridiculous stories and whatever. Kind of welcoming to our little selves. We'll be back again next week, as we always are. We're going to thank again all you guys for commenting and so on. Make sure you like, share, comment. We're on YouTube and on Facebook. And hey, the more the merrier, right? So until next time, I'm Brad. This is Jamie with Main Stage Music. We'll see you next week.
Cool stories.